Tonight, you're backstage at the Daily's newsroom for another episode of The Double Shot. And in this week's episode, I'm going to take you on a journey from luchadors to Wookiees to monkey protesters. We've got all that and more coming up on this week's episode of The Double Shot.
Hi, I'm Starla Sampaco.
I'm Christopher Zuthan, and this is the UW Daily Double Shot.
Hi, I'm Dylan Teague McDonald, and today on a special edition of Film Focus for May the 4th, we're going to be celebrating the Star Wars franchise.
20th Century Fox and George Lucas bring you an adventure unlike anything on your planet. Star Wars.
What makes a film, what makes Star Wars so special? Why do people obsess over it? I think a lot of that has to do with the characters. They're these memorable characters. The main character in the original trilogy is Luke Skywalker, and he's like this orphan boy, but he's kind of sensitive, but he's also like learning to be strong, and he gets his lightsaber weapon that's like just one of the most iconic images I think in film history. Other main characters include Leia. She's like the last princess, leading this rebellion. But the real, I think the fan favorite is Han Solo. He's played by Harrison Ford. He's the sort of rough and tumble. He's scruffy looking, and he's got the blaster, and he shoots under the table. He shoots first all the time. No one messes with him. And he still gets the girl in the end. He's got the cool spaceship. He's got the sidekick Chewbacca. There's like a big furry monster. And then I think the best villain, honestly, in film history is Darth Vader. And he's, when he shows up in Episode 4 for the first time, and he like blows open the door, and he's just dressed all in black, and he stomps into the hallway, and you hear his, deep James Earl Jones voice. That's like, if you were a little kid, you peed yourself or whatever, like that freaked you out because he was so evil and just the greatest villain you could possibly imagine. So getting briefly kind of going into the mythology of it, like I said, there's this thing called the Force, and it permeates all life in the universe. And there's like a good side and an evil side, light and dark. And that's really where the conflict of the film comes in, that you've got people who can control the good and people who can control the dark, but the ones who control the dark are usually corrupted by it, and they become physically corrupted. So it's these representations of good and evil in both the visual and this kind of spiritual way too. And I think that's what really, people all over the world love Star Wars. No matter what culture you grew up in, there's always like a good and evil struggle. And I think that this is the core of Star Wars, is that struggle. The technical aspects of the film are also what make it really memorable. I mean, I don't think people don't usually sit down and think about the sound of Star Wars, but it is important that the blaster sound effects, the lightsaber, kind of makes that low hum, and it's you've also got the John Williams soundtrack, which is probably the best soundtrack ever composed for a film. So just the aural sensations that are going on are you don't always notice it, but it wouldn't be Star Wars without those specific sound effects.
Stop that ship! Faster!
Along with the sound stuff, the visuals are, it pioneered a lot of camera techniques. It was one of the first films to use like a programmable camera, so you can move the camera along, like say a desert. You can kind of scan the desert, and you can tell the camera do that movement again, and then you can have your little like model spaceship to follow the same movement, and then that way you can paste them together, and it looks like the spaceship is flying across the desert, or flying through space. So that's how they got those really great dogfight scenes. Like, you don't even think about it now, like you see it in all the movies today, but back then that was totally new technology. All the blockbusters to this day, whether it's the Avengers and the Dark Knight movies, the Lord of the Rings films, like you wouldn't have any of that without these techniques of Star Wars, and also this proof. It's basically a proof of concept that you can if you have a great idea and you support it with awesome special effects, people will go see it. Like that's what, like it taps into something at the core of like the human experience, and people just love to watch it. So I'm going to wrap up today by just sort of doing like I think a personal, like a love letter to Star Wars. Star Wars has been there for me as far back as I can remember. There were times where my family, on like a weekend when I was a kid, we'd go to the Blockbuster video store and we'd rent Star Wars. And like if we were renting Star Wars, that was going to be a good weekend. We'd just watch Star Wars, a couple times over the course of the weekend, eat popcorn, drink hot chocolate. Like that was one of the kind of classic family experiences that we had. And then you built this shared community. As a society, I think Star Wars brings us together. If you still to this day have not seen Star Wars, you're not that you're lacking, but that you could be part of something bigger just by watching it, by experiencing it with other people. Tragically, when I was about 9 or 10, they came out with a new set of Star Wars films, these prequel trilogies, and now this May 4th I think is very special because we're on the verge of seeing another new set of Star Wars films. So that's where we're at now as a community of Star Wars fans. We're cautiously optimistic. We've been hurt before, but we think that Star Wars can do better, can be what it was and what we believe it can be again.
I'm Olivia Fuller from The Daily, and we're out here at the Taco Libre Truck Showdown in the International District. Today, the Mobile Food Rodeo is bringing a little flavor of Mexico to Chinatown with everything from taco truck competitions to traditional Mexican wrestling. According to Facebook, there's over 10,000 people here, all celebrating Cinco de Mayo block party style. So let's see who will pack the biggest punch, the tacos or the luchadors. What are you doing out here at the Taco Libre Showdown?
I'm hungry at the Taco Showdown today.
Cinco de Mayo! Celebrating, it's food truck, it's fun.
Trying to get some tacos, hopefully. Line's a little long, but we're definitely going to make the wait.
It's fun, it's Cinco de Mayo, everybody should dress up. Nobody dress up in Seattle. It's the first time in Seattle of like wears poncho, sombrero. Nope, not here.
Cinco de Mayo is a little a special occasion for me, and anything I can do to celebrate the culture of the city is just fantastic.
We thought, maybe it would be fun to do something for Cinco de Mayo and do like a taco specific event to kind of be in the spirit of it. And so it just kind of grew out of that. But it was just kind of an idea to get people together and make it a big block party. It's free to the public. It's very culturally diverse in terms of the food and like the audience and things, but it's a great way to spend a night in Chinatown.
Do you know what Cinco de Mayo is?
Oh, no, it's celebrating Mexican something. Nope.
Mexican Independence Day that we falsely celebrate here in the U.S.
Cinco de Mayo is Mexican Independence Day.
It's like a July 4th of Mexican version. Yeah.
All I know is that's when everybody drinks and, celebrates and all that, but we don't know what we're celebrating necessarily.
It's in the many years ago in the war. It's French and Mexican. The Mexican win, so this is why they celebrate. But actually, it's a more American celebration. Yeah.
Have you seen any of the Lucha Libre match yet?
Oh yeah, we see it. It's PG-13. It's good. It's PG-13. I'm like, whoa.
The fans were really into it, which is always an awesome thing. The more the fans are involved, the better the match goes. Unfortunately, I lost. Me and my partner lost tonight, but it's still putting on a good show for the crowd, and that's what's important.
I'm not a big Cinco de Mayo person. I don't pretend to celebrate that holiday or that kind of festivity, but I wanted it to be something that was really authentic to the neighborhood and the community. And I just thought these guys do such a wonderful job. If I can bring a little bit more to them, then and just share their talents with a larger audience and just make it fun because it's family friendly. It's also just I don't know, you just don't see Mexican luchador wrestling anywhere. So I just want to celebrate what they do, and hopefully people say, hey, this is awesome.
Well, we've been here for a few hours already, and it doesn't look like things will be slowing down for quite some time here at the Taco Libre Truck Showdown. This year's event brought over 25,000 people to the streets of Chinatown to taste a variety of foods from different food trucks, not including tacos. I would know how crowded it was because I waited in line for over an hour for my taco. People from all ages were out here celebrating Cinco de Mayo a few days early, even though most of them don't even know why they're celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Olivia Fuller, The Daily.
The University of Washington is one of the country's top research institutions. However, the ethics of a certain type of research have recently come into question, sparking debate and protests. I spoke to some of the organizers and animal rights activists involved in this to shed some light on the situation.
They don't speak the language of morality. They don't speak the language of reason. They speak the language of money. They speak the language of social capital. They speak the language of prestige. They speak the language of cruelty. We are here today to confront that cruelty and say, no new animal lab! 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 No new animal labs! No new animal lab! No new animal labs!
We had 500 people who gathered here on campus in Red Square for a rally, and then we marched throughout the university, including the proposed lab site and all around the university district. And that brought a lot of public awareness to the issue, as well as showed the broad public opposition to the lab. No New Animal Lab is a campaign. We aren't having it be a specific group. We want everyone to feel like they can plug in, and that this isn't something that just one group is spearheading, but this campaign should be thought of as the movement's campaign, and for everyone to plug into it under that banner of No New Animal Lab.
So we came to the protest as a group, and we made a couple banners to really solidify our stance on the matter. And that is that we want to see UW investing in the development and purchase of alternatives to animal research models. We came to the march obviously with the stance that the new lab shouldn't be built, but we also knew that there would be hundreds of people with like that message specifically on signs, and so we really wanted to highlight the idea of an investment in alternatives.
March on the University was just one piece of the broader campaign. We are doing things like all over Seattle. We are protesting the university, the regents, the president, as well as protesting the construction company Skanska. People have plugged into this campaign all over the U.S. We had for the march, people traveled to Seattle, some people from as far as Texas, California, Oregon, and it was a day where everyone could come together and feel the energy that this campaign has, both for stopping this lab as well as for being this moment in the animal rights movement where people are coming together.
And in terms of animal activism at large, I think we just want to be a group that's recognizing that animals share a space with us on this earth, and that when we're talking about rights, that it needs to involve a dialogue that's about animals. And we need to take them into our everyday considerations because we are very much involved with them every single day in what we do and what we consume and the way that we talk. And so just bringing animals into a broader dialogue, I think, is that will ultimately help lessen their suffering.
If they do build this, thousands of animals will be tortured and killed inside, including primates, rabbits, pigs, and other animals literally buried underground.
We have a real concern with this lab being built, not only because it sends the message that UW is very much invested in animal research, but also because it's going to be expanding their animal census and not working towards a more progressive scientific future.
Yeah, we do believe that we can stop this lab from being built. Starting with, we had a lawsuit against the UW Board of Regents because they made the decision in secret to vote to approve the construction of the facility. And just this last week, we had a hearing in that lawsuit, and the regents were found guilty of violating the Open Public Meetings Act with having illegal meetings to discuss this and keep it away from the public because they knew it was controversial.
I think it's very frustrating as a student and a member of the UW community that there's such a lack of transparency in the field of animal research, because UW prides itself on scientific research that's finding cures and then telling us that we should be proud of that. And I want to be proud of that, but I also want to be involved in those conversations about how that's happening. I think that it would be a more ethical stance on the part of the university and the scientists involved to be open to these conversations. That's why I love the message of alternatives so much, because it doesn't pit the scientists versus the activists. It lets us come together and say we have a common goal of finding cures and progressing science, and we can do it through the discovery of alternatives that makes our university look awesome.
They very much know that this isn't something that's supported, and that people don't want animals to be tortured in labs, and they want a major university to be investing in alternatives and pursuing cutting-edge methods. We do have to come together as this powerful grassroots movement, because we are up against very powerful forces. The university and the government is intertwined with that. Skanska's a giant corporation, and so they are going to try and continue forward with their plans and ignore what we're doing. And so that's why this is a pressure campaign. We're saying, you know, we aren't going to let you do this. Whether you want to talk to us or not, we're going to stop you.
I'm Carol Fallon with The Double Shot, about to take you behind the scenes of this year's Afro-Caribbean Night. Now, the African Student Association will be representing both the Caribbean and Africa in an effort to show us what it truly means to be in touch with their cultures. From Eritrea to Nigeria to the Dominican Republic to Ethiopia, the upcoming Afro-Caribbean Night will be the night for students from all over Africa to show the community what it truly means to be from the motherland.
There's so many countries in the continent of Africa, and we just wanted to bring it all together and just show everybody that we come in all different colors, shapes, sizes, everything like that, all different dances, languages, and we just wanted to show everybody the beauty behind Africa and our unity and how together we are.
For the participants, it's not only a chance to educate others about their culture, but also a chance to learn themselves. Freshman Angela Bonsu, UW's first Miss Africa, will be performing a dance from Ghana, combining both non-traditional and traditional dance.
It means a lot because I was born here, and my parents are coming to this and everything like that, so it's definitely going to be really cool for my parents to see that I am in touch with my culture and that I've learned so much from just dancing alone.
Ethiopian student Jerusalem Desi attended Afro-Caribbean Night back in 2012. But this year, she won't be in the audience. She will be on stage performing a wedding-themed dance from Ethiopia, and she will also be in a skit and the fashion show.
I felt like I got to be closer with the African/Black community at UW. It really gave me a place to call home.
You didn't just get to the house. This actually gives a lot of people an opportunity to learn about cultures that they may otherwise not know about. And for me, I mean, I'm Nigerian, but I grew up in Los Angeles, so there are a lot of things about my own culture that I'm still learning about, and this is actually a learning experience for me.
You guys are behind the wall right now, okay? So when the MCs call, all right, give it up for Romeo, woo! You guys are gonna come out from the wall and then start your dance. Pretend that this is a line.
Putting together the show is a lot easier said than done. Just ask Adeze Madani, president of the African Student Association.
To put on Afro-Caribbean Night, it takes drive. It takes motivation, it takes encouragement, it takes a crew to put on ACN.
They dance, they sweat, and they practice until they've got it right. For weeks, students from not only UW, but the surrounding African community have been rehearsing for the big night. It's a stressful process, but ASA has not lost sight of their future goal: to increase the African presence on a campus where Black undergrads only make up 2% of the population. Recognition of Black culture is important. But with recent events surrounding Black Lives Matter, this is really an opportunity for students to show just how much their community has to offer.
I just got so proud of being African American and being Black, and just showing people at this university, since the Black population is so small, just showing people who we are and that we're not like all these stereotypes and things like that.
Every year is an improvement from the last. The addition of an anticipated skit will add humor to the show and demonstrate what it's like to have African parents. More countries will also be represented in dance, but most importantly, there will be food. Afro-Caribbean Night will take place in Kane Hall on Saturday, May 16th at 7 p.m. You can buy tickets through the Hub website, or you can find ASA on campus this week.
Hi, I'm Starla Sampaco. ASU Dub election campaigns are officially underway, and in this segment we're featuring someone who's been through it all before. I sat down with ASU Dub President Christina Zhao, and she reflected on her year so far and spoke about her plans going forward. Let's check it out. Like many typical college students, ASU Dub President Christina Zhao is busy juggling school and work. For Christina, however, the work description just happens to include representing 40,000 students in University Matters. She even has her own office and a personalized gavel. The Seattle native is a graduating senior studying informatics with a minor in geography. Christina said class actually plays a pretty small role in her day. Most of her day is spent on student government. In this segment, we got to know Christina just a little bit better. From her serious side,
just the large amount of responsibility in terms of advocating for students,
to the silly.
One time I showed up to her house and she was just wearing a cat mask.
All jokes aside, Christina's job is tough.
Well, a lot of the times in a room with administrators or just the general public, with legislators too, they'll sort of ask, hey, what do students think? And I'm like, well, let me distill for you what 40,000 people think. You know, that's pretty difficult.
When discussing leadership, Christina said that it's more than just about identifying problems. To her, leadership is about initiative.
Anyone can gain sort of like public speaking skills, presentation skills. That's not the core quality of it. It's that will you take the initiative upon yourself to say like, oh, I need to do something about this or else nobody will. And so I think if you're a person who's willing to say that at any level, and you can do that without having a position or a title or anything like that, you just have to think to yourself, well, I'm someone who can do something about this, and I'm going to do something about this, or else no one will. And so that's really cool because that can be anyone. You know, leadership isn't a title, it isn't a paid position or anything like that.
The title of ASU Dub President will be passed on to either Timmy Bendis or Tyler Wu. Christina gave this advice to her successor.
I guarantee you, no matter what kind of platform the person comes in with, they're going to have to deal with just a huge, wide variety of issues and situations that they couldn't have anticipated. I mean, look, this year we had a president of the University of Washington resign. You know, there's just so many unanticipated things have happened this year that I've had to deal with. And so the question is really, how good are you at adapting to new situations? How good are you at picking up new skills and picking them up quickly? And how quickly can you learn something and demonstrate sort of mastery of a topic or of an issue? I think that's actually the most important quality.
Prior to this interview, many people didn't know that Christina and former ASU Dub President Michael Coots were actually in a relationship.
We met, I've worked for ASU Dub for 3 years, so we met like a long time ago before I was president and before he was president, so it's not anything weird like that. That's one fun thing that people are always shocked to find out. Like, I think it shocks the administrators the most, actually. They're like, wait, what? And I'm like, it's what, we're friends, it's okay.
She's planning her own wedding. Oh, am I allowed to tell them about your wedding? Okay.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'll tell them about your wedding. You're planning
No, that's not public knowledge.
Just kidding, I'm just kidding. You know, I joke. We joke so much about, even though it's on the wall.
Oh,
you know.
Okay, all right.
Just one day after this interview, Christina and Michael got engaged, so their relationship is no longer a secret. While we do not yet know who will take over the president position for next year, one thing is for certain. Christina's successor will have big shoes to fill.
I would say, Christina, she's been doing a really great job this year, and really hard worker, and I've had the awesome privilege to be working with her this year.
So I'm going to graduate in June, and for the next 6 months, I'm doing a discipleship school through the church that I go to. So it's part-time in the morning, 8:30 to 12:30, and then in the afternoon, I'm going to work a part-time job. So I'll do that until January, and then I'm going to look for a full-time job. Doing something still to be determined, I'm not sure yet. But eventually I would like to come back to school for graduate school. I'm thinking about law school, but I'm not 100% sure yet, so.
She's really derpy.
Derby.
Yeah.
Don't know what that means.
Like goofy, you know, like.
Yeah, she's goofy. She tells a lot of jokes.
So like random.
But yeah, she's a good person. Sometimes.
Reporting for Daily Video, I'm Starla Sampaco. Make sure to check out The Daily on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and also check out our website, dailyuw.com. Thanks for watching.
Hi there, my name's Alex Bosco, and we're here at the 8th Annual Red Square Motor Show, a charity event held by Sigma Phi Epsilon Fraternity and PAWS, an organization that helps puppies and animals without homes find them. Let's check it out.
We're at the Red Square Charity Car Show. This is our 8th year doing it. Our charity that we're supporting is PAWS. It's the Progressive Animal Welfare Society. It's a really local charity, which is awesome. And it's all about benefiting animals in the local area, you know, helping them off the street, doing vaccinations, things they need like that, a lot of rescue work. So it's a great cause. Awesome.
My name is Michael Nampe. This is my car. I shipped it from Guam to support charities in our area. I built this during the time when my grandma was terminally ill in the recovery center, and it took me out of a lot of problems and kept me out of trouble. And I just felt it as a good way to spend my time while taking care of her. And now I'm just trying to keep like a Guam theme involved in it to represent where I come from.
You know, one of the guys that also is involved with Northwest Auto Salon is a big donor to PAWS, and that's kind of what we brought PAWS on the second year of the Red Square Car Show, and they've just been with us ever since. It's just such a great cause, and it's a unique cause, and so we just love donating and working with them. I got Sonny and Cher here. They're unofficial mascots of Red Square Car Show. They're loving it, having a great day. Stealing the show, you know?
Yes, I played football here as part of the 1985 Orange Bowl championship team, Purple Rain defense. It's engineering here at the University of Washington, and came out in '90. And now I've got kids my daughter just got accepted here at the University of Washington.
I had a chance to see the car before it was introduced over in Italy, the factory, and the car is just a remarkable car. Because it's a hybrid and they're using a Formula One style KERS system, it's rear wheel drive, the electric engine is behind the engine. So they optimize the 6.2 liter V12 to produce 800 horsepower at 9,000 RPMs. The only other thing I can say about the car is it's, as beautiful as it is, all the details about the car, it's really where form meets, real function. So, every detail on here, it's really about performance.
Hello, my name's Mike, and I really got started with cars back in the early 60s, late 70s. My dad purchased a 66 GTO and drove it for our family car. And for us to be able to drive these cars, we had to learn something about it. So spent a lot of time in the garage with Dad, learning, changing carburetors out, a lot of engine things and things like that. So it just kind of stuck with me. And saw one of these when I was in high school. Just realized I had to have it at some point. So ended up purchasing this car a while ago and went through the full restoration process with it. And now it's just a good hobby of mine. Collect, go to shows, show other people cars, and talk cars all day long with people. And It's good to get out and drive them around from time to time, but we spend the majority of the time cleaning them and tuning them and just tinkering with them. So it's been a long time coming.
What's your name?
It's Gio.
Gio? Awesome. This is your GTR, obviously? Yes. Very cool. How long have you owned it for?
For more than 2 years.
Oh, very cool. Is this your first time being at the car show?
No, this is actually probably like 100 times. I've been to like every single car show.
Oh, nice.
around the area.
How about this one?
This one is my 3rd year. This is my 3rd time, yeah.
Very cool.
Well, that's all the content we've got for you tonight. But make sure you tune in 2 weeks from now to catch our last episode for spring quarter. In the meantime, you can check us out online at dailyuw.com/doubleshot or on our YouTube channel, Daily UW. We really appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next time on the Daily's Double Shot.